Hello, students. I hope everybody is doing well today. Um, I've linked the PowerPoint for our first topic of instruction, translations. I've linked that PowerPoint, and you can go back and flip through as much as you want to with using those as notes, more or less. But this is me going through the PowerPoint so you can fully understand what I want you to get out of that. um, Before I get started with the PowerPoint, and understand that I'm kind of wading through some stuff here. I'm actually on Screencastify, which is the program that I use to make these recordings. I'm gonna have to go to my PowerPoint and get set up here. Um, from current slide. Okay, and this Screencastify only allows me to do 5-minute videos, so I'll go through this PowerPoint probably in multiple parts. Part one is obviously now, and I don't know how far we'll get into the actual lesson, but understand that if this video stops and you don't, you can tell there's more to come, then go look for part two. And if it stops in part two, then I'll continue with part three until I go through the entire PowerPoint and I'll try to be as thorough as I can, without being overly wordy. So our first topic of instruction for this year is going to be a geometry topic, and it's transformation. So I don't know if you can see this document. I don't think you probably can. The standard we are working on, however, is 8.G.2, and I'll just read it to you. You can't see it. You can find these standards if you just Google eighth grade Tennessee math standards, and you can find what we are trying to accomplish by Googling the standards. But I'll read it to you. It says, describe the effect of dilations, translations, rotations, and reflections on two-dimensional figures using coordinates. So we've got four things that we've got to get accomplished within this standard, and we'll break them apart in four different lessons. The first one that I like to do is translations. The reason why, it's probably the easiest. So that's where we're going to pick up in this, is we're going to talk about translations. So understand that all four of those movements, dilations, translations, reflections, and rotations, they are all going to kind of fall under this term transformation. Transformation just means you change it. So a translation is going to change the location of a figure, okay, a 2D figure on a coordinate plane, and rotating it, reflecting it, and dilating will just transform as well. So transformation is kind of the overarching move or skill that we're working on, and under that umbrella of transformations are our first translation, and then we'll move to the other three. So before we get started, it's just kind of what I talked about. A transformation, it's just a change that occurs, or it maps, it moves a shape into a specific direction onto an image. So these are translations, rotations, reflections, and dilations. They were only working on this one here, a translation. Um, so a pre-image, you notice the word image up here in this definition. So that kind of leads us to what pre-image. So the word pre means before. So the word pre-image is just the position of the shape before you move it or you change it. So we'll refer to that as the pre-image. Before anything has ever been done to the image on the coordinate plane, we refer to it as the pre-image. And then after we apply transformation, in today's case, the translation, we're going to move it or translate it. That pre-image will then be called an image. So it's the position of the shape after the change has been made. So after we translate image or pre-images today, wherever it stops, we'll call it the image. So translation is a transformation that slides a shape in another location. So a slide, just like you would think, it's just going to kind of move it left or right or up or down, and we can just push it, essentially push the shape all around that coordinate plane until it finally rests in the spot that it specifies us to. So translation, you slide up, you can go down, you can go right, you can go left, or you can do a combination of all the above. And you're going to get a notation similar to this right here. It looks very difficult. It's just a lot of letters, a lot of parentheses, a lot of arrows.